Okay, so you've given us like a ton of documents about this 1996 Virginia UFO incident in Brazil.
Yeah.
And it's been called the modern Roswell. We've
Oh.
got like witness accounts and investigator reports, even some medical analysis.
Wow.
It's a lot to go through.
It's really interesting how this happened in 1996.
Yeah.
It's not that long ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's still such a mystery.
So let's try to break it down, right?
Yeah.
Like, what were the big events? What's the strongest evidence? And why is there so much, conflicting information?
Yeah, and believe me, there are some details here that are gonna,
Yeah.
make you really wonder
Okay.
what was going on in Virginia.
So first,
Yeah.
let's set the scene.
Oh, wow.
Virginia, Brazil,
Yeah.
January 1996, right?
Right.
Small town, quiet,
Yeah.
not exactly where you'd think you'd have this.
No, and that's part of what makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
It wasn't some big city or anything.
Right.
Makes it even stranger.
So we've got to start with the first sightings.
Okay.
3 young women, Katia, Liliane, and Valkyria.
Uh-huh.
They're walking home from work. They take a shortcut.
Right.
And they run into something,
Yeah.
really bizarre.
Now, what's interesting is, even though they were all interviewed separately,
Yeah.
their descriptions of this creature are, like, really similar.
Oh, wow.
Like, they all said it was about 4 or 5 feet tall.
Okay.
Oily brown skin,
Hmm.
big red eyes,
Hmm.
like no pupils you could see, really small mouth and nose.
Okay, but there was one thing that really, really stuck out, right?
Oh, yeah.
They, all 3, said this thing had these 3 bony bumps on its head,
Uh-huh.
like horns.
And that detail about the horns, that kind of played into how they first understood it.
What do you mean?
Well, they thought they had seen the devil,
Oh, wow.
Like,
Yeah.
it says a lot about the culture and how we try to make
Yeah.
sense of things we don't know.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
So imagine you're walking home from work and you see this thing, right?
Oh, I can't even imagine.
I mean,
Yeah.
no wonder they were terrified.
Oh, yeah.
One of the sisters, Liliane, she even said the creature turned its head and looked right at her
Oh, wow.
before she ran.
That detail about the eye contact,
Yeah.
that's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
It seems like there's some intelligence there.
Right.
Not just some animal.
But Liliane also said something else that's kind of adds another layer to this.
What's that?
She said she felt bad for the creature.
Oh, really?
She sensed it was intelligent and she thought it was distressed.
That's so interesting. It's not like the typical monster story.
Right.
You actually feel for this being.
Right. Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like, what happened?
Yeah.
Was it hurt? Was it lost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's their mother, Louisa.
Right.
Now, some reports say she saw the creature too. But in interviews, she denies it. So right away, there's some uncertainty.
Yeah. You see that a lot in this case.
Yeah.
It's like this fog of information.
Right.
We don't really know what's clear.
So we've got these sightings, this strange creature,
Yeah.
and already the stories don't match up.
Right.
But this is where things get really crazy.
Okay.
Right after the girls see this thing,
Yeah.
people start reporting a huge increase in military activity in Varginha.
And it seems like way too much for a hoax or even a misidentified animal.
Right. Witnesses describe soldiers like searching everywhere,
Yeah.
carrying these big canvas bags,
Yeah.
and it seemed like they had something alive in them.
Wow.
One jogger even said he saw these soldiers with the bags and then heard 3 gunshots
Oh, geez.
coming from the woods.
That's creepy.
And of course, the Brazilian military, they deny everything.
Really?
They said they nothing to prove.
But that kind of makes you wonder even more, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like, what are they hiding?
Right.
It's classic cover-up stuff.
Yeah.
Immediately makes you doubt the official story.
It's like they're admitting something happened,
Yeah.
but they're trying to downplay it at the same time.
Right.
Then there's this press conference given by Brigadier General Sergio Pedro Coelho Lima.
Okay.
Now, when reporters asked him about the soldiers involved,
Yeah.
he wouldn't answer.
Wow.
I mean, he just completely stonewalled.
Yeah, it just adds to the mystery.
And then there were reports of this secret meeting
Really?
of high-ranking military officials.
Who was there?
Now, they were supposedly evaluating this new teaching environment
Mm-hmm.
and the satellite monitoring system.
Okay.
But according to sources, the creatures were the real topic.
Wow.
Behind closed doors.
So they were trying to control the story?
Yeah, it seems like they were trying to manage what got out But by doing that, they just made it more suspicious.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
What we see here is like denial and obfuscation.
Right.
We see it a lot with UFO stuff. Like they're trying to hide the truth.
And this is just the beginning.
Oh no.
The Varginha incident gets really dark.
Oh geez.
And this young military policeman, Marco Eli Charez, he becomes really important to the whole mystery.
Okay, so the encounter with the creature had some real and tragic consequences.
Yeah. You know, we've been talking about these sightings and a possible cover-up.
Right.
But the Varginha incident, it's also about how these events, like, affected people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've given us some, like, really sad information about what happened after the first sightings.
It's one thing to read about mysterious creatures and government secrets.
Yeah.
But it's a whole other thing when you think about the people who were actually there.
Right, the people who went through this.
And what happened to them.
Exactly. Let's talk about Marco Eli Charez. He was a young military policeman, only 23 years old.
Oh, right.
And he died after supposedly coming into contact with one of these beings.
And it wasn't just that he died suddenly.
Right.
It was like almost unexplainable.
Right.
According to Dr. Cesario, the doctor who treated him.
Yeah.
He said Marco's death was terribly fast.
Wow.
And that there was no rational explanation. He'd seen similar infections before, but usually in people who already had health problems.
Right.
But Marco was a healthy young man.
So what could have caused that? I mean, like, what could make someone's health deteriorate so quickly?
That's a good question.
The medical analysis of Marco's blood, they found cytoplasmic vacuoles and these thin toxic granules in his neutrophils.
So that suggests like a serious bacterial infection.
Right, but here's the thing.
What?
Dr. Cesario, he agreed that the infection was bad. But he didn't think these granules were something like extraterrestrial or unknown.
So there's a contradiction.
Yeah.
The infection makes sense.
Yeah.
But how fast it happened, how severe it was, doesn't really fit.
It's like his body just couldn't fight it off.
Right.
Like it was something totally new.
What if the creature didn't give him a normal bacteria or virus? What if it was something like biological?
Yeah.
But something we don't even understand yet.
That's scary.
It is. It really makes you think about what else is out there.
Right, like what other threats could there be?
Exactly.
And it's even more tragic because Marco's family, they weren't told anything about his condition or what happened to him.
That's awful.
They weren't even told about his funeral.
Why?
The military handled everything.
That's so sad.
They didn't even get to grieve properly.
Right. They were denied that basic.
Right. And they couldn't even ask questions.
It's like the total lack of transparency.
Yeah. It's really disturbing.
And it wasn't just Marco's case.
Yeah.
The medical staff who treated the creature at the hospital.
Yeah.
They were too scared to talk.
Really? Why?
They were afraid of losing their jobs or even worse.
I mean, imagine that, right?
Yeah.
These are medical professionals.
People who are supposed to help others.
Yeah.
And they're silenced.
Out of fear.
Exactly.
And it makes you wonder, like, what kind of pressure were they under?
It really paints a picture of intimidation and fear.
Yeah.
Like, someone was trying to keep this whole thing quiet.
Right. Like how many other people might have seen something, but didn't say anything because they were afraid.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Fear is a huge problem when it comes to UFOs.
Right.
It keeps people quiet.
And it lets those in power control what gets out.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the creatures, but some sources also mention a UFO crash.
Oh, right.
Like a cylindrical craft that maybe landed or crashed in the area.
And there are some interesting parallels to Roswell.
Really?
Yeah, both cases involve this weird debris.
Right.
And this alleged military cover-up.
So are there any witnesses who saw this craft?
There is this truck driver, Souza.
Okay.
He said he saw a silver cylindrical craft flying really low over the highway. He was so startled that he jumped in his truck and followed it.
Really?
For miles.
Wow.
He even said he saw this big hole in the front of the craft.
Wow.
And like a trail of smoke or vapor coming out of it.
And was he the only one?
No, other people said they saw military jets flying all over the place.
Like they were searching for something.
Exactly.
So this does suggest that something crashed, or at least landed.
Yeah, I mean, think about the military response.
Right, all the soldiers, the trucks with the bags, the gunshots.
It's way too much for just some animals.
It's more like they were trying to recover something, something really important.
And maybe dangerous.
Right, and remember, this was during the Cold War.
Oh, right.
So if a foreign craft had entered Brazil, that would have been a huge deal.
They might have been worried about the technology falling into the wrong hands.
But instead of being open about it, they just denied everything.
It's that lack of accountability that fuels all the conspiracy theories.
It makes it hard to know what's true.
Exactly.
And it raises questions about, like, the government's role in all this. Like, who should know what's happening?
Right.
And how much can they keep secret?
These are questions we're still dealing with today.
Yeah.
And Varginha is a perfect example of why they're so important.
But even with all this secrecy and tragedy, there are still these moments of, like, real wonder and possibility. Remember the doctor who said he talked to the creature telepathically?
Oh, yeah, that's a fascinating detail.
The being was supposedly sad for humanity.
Yeah.
Which suggests it understood things.
Yeah.
Maybe even better than we do. It makes you wonder, like, what did they know?
Right.
Were they trying to warn us about something?
Or just, like, feeling empathy for us.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they saw us as lost or disconnected.
That's what makes Varginha so compelling.
Yeah.
It's about the unknown, about life beyond Earth.
Right.
And how that could change how we see ourselves.
So we've looked at the witness accounts, the military's strange behavior, and Marco Eli Chirese's tragic death.
Right.
But we've also touched on these big questions about extraterrestrial life.
Yeah.
Government secrecy. Even human consciousness.
And there's even more.
Oh.
Like these strange smells.
Right.
Rumors of alien autopsies.
Yeah.
And there's a story about a teenager.
Okay.
A secret videotape. And an encounter with the unknown.
So get ready, because we're going into the final part of our deep dive into Varginha.
Okay.
And believe me, the ending is just as mind-blowing as the beginning. So we've covered a lot, but there are still some, like, really interesting things in these documents.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about what people saw, right?
Right.
But what about, like, what they smelled?
Ah, yeah, the smells.
Yeah.
That's something people don't always think about.
Yeah.
But smells can be powerful.
Yeah, totally. So a lot of witnesses said they smelled this strong ammonia-like odor.
Okay.
In the areas where they saw the creatures.
Oh.
And some even said it smelled like sulfur.
Oh, wow.
Which makes it even weirder, don't you think?
It does. You know, sulfur has all these, like, cultural connections.
Right.
Volcanoes, hell, that kind of thing.
Right, like something biblical.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, this smell is a real part of the mystery. Like a reminder that something truly strange happened.
Right. You can't forget it.
Okay, so speaking of strange,
yeah,
we have to talk about the rumors of alien autopsies.
Oh, yeah, alien autopsies. They're like a classic part of UFO stories.
Right.
The idea that the military captured these beings and then did all these secret medical experiments on them.
Right.
It's pretty wild.
So do these documents actually say anything about that?
Well, there's no, like, direct proof in what you've given me.
Yeah.
But there are some hints, you know.
Oh, okay, like what?
Remember all that increased military activity at the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
The restricted areas?
Yeah.
All the secrecy around Marco Eli Chirese's death?
Right.
It all points to something weird going on.
Right, like they were hiding something.
It's like we have all the pieces,
yeah,
but we're missing that one key thing.
Right, that undeniable proof.
Yeah, but sometimes not having that proof can be just as interesting.
Really? How so?
Well, it makes you ask, like, what are they trying to hide?
Yeah.
And why are they trying so hard?
Right, it's those unanswered questions that keep us, like, hooked.
They make us want to learn more.
Okay, now, this is a wild story.
Okay.
You mentioned something about a teenager watching a video of one of the creatures.
This comes from someone who says they were a high-ranking military officer involved in the Varginha incident.
Okay.
And they claim they made a copy of a secret videotape.
Wait, a secret videotape?
Yeah.
Was this, like, officially recorded by the military?
Yeah, it seems like it.
Or was it, like, a home video or something?
It's not totally clear.
Okay.
But it sounds like the military took it.
Okay.
Maybe during the recovery.
So this officer takes the videotape home.
Right.
And then what?
Well, his teenage daughter and her friend were home alone one night.
Okay.
And they were feeling kind of rebellious.
Yeah.
So they decided to, snoop around a bit.
Classic teenager stuff.
Right. They were hoping to find something, exciting, but instead they found this videotape.
And I'm guessing it wasn't what they were expecting.
Not at all.
So they put it in the VCR,
Yeah.
and instead of seeing something, fun...
They saw the capture and autopsy of one of the Varginha creatures.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Can you imagine?
Talk about a traumatic experience.
I know, right?
They probably thought they were going to see something entertaining, and they end up watching an alien autopsy.
It's like this mix of the ordinary and the extraordinary.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so interesting.
So what happened to the videotape?
Well, the source says it's never been found.
Really?
Yeah, even though people have looked for it.
So another missing piece of the puzzle.
It is, but it keeps the mystery alive,
It does.
Who knows? Maybe someday it'll turn up.
Yeah, and maybe it'll finally give us some answers.
It would be amazing.
So even without that videotape, the Varginha incident is still one of the most, compelling UFO cases ever.
Absolutely.
It has everything, strange creatures, a military cover-up,
right,
conflicting stories,
yeah,
and this possibility that we're not alone.
It really makes you think.
It does. It challenges us to be more open-minded.
Yeah.
To question what we think we know.
And to consider things we might not understand yet.
Exactly. And who knows what else is hidden in those files.
That's the best part of deep dives like this.
Yeah.
It's not just about finding the truth.
Right.
It's about sparking curiosity.
Yeah.
And making people want to explore more.
So we hope this has encouraged you to, ask your own questions about Varginha and about UFOs in general.
The Varginha incident shows us that there's still so much we don't know about our world.
And about space.
It tells us to keep searching, keep questioning.
Keep exploring.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Varginha incident.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time for another journey into the unknown.